The next thing we have to look at is user input. Now, this is one of my favorite sections, and I think loads of people are going to like this as well, because this is where you learn to put data into your specific program that you've written. So it says here, every single game, computer, tablet, mobile phone that you have ever used has asked for some input at some point. This can come from a mouse, a keyboard, a touchscreen, a microphone, etc. So how do we actually get user input into Python? Well, first things first, let's create a new Python file. Let's call this one user input. Again, this is not the actual file name. This is just a comment, so we know what this program is about. Now, typically, actually, in comments, you normally add at the top the date the program was written. So today is the 12th of the 11th, 2022. You don't need to put the time in most cases, and you need to put who wrote the program. So King Boss, aka runs Tech Hub. And after that, we can then say user input. So let's ask for a few different types of user input. Now, we're not going to make use of these things right now. We're simply going to get the values and print them on screen. That's all we care about now. So typically people want name, people want age, people want, or programs want height. Oh, not 7 height, just height. Remember, you cannot start a variable name with a number. It must be letters first. And what you can do is do numbers after. It must start with letters. So I can say name, age, and height. Name. Now, the way this works, we do input, I-M-P-U-T, and then we ask what we want to ask for. So we don't have to put anything in the quote, but it makes sense. Because if you're creating a program which people are going to read, they might just see a flashing dot on screen. They might not know what that means. So if I actually remove this for now, so highlight everything, right click and do comment out. So that's Alt 3, and that comments it out. So we can comment out a massive chunk of program at once. Now, when I press F5 and run this, I see a flashing cursor. I know I can type stuff in there and press enter, but the average person won't know this. So for me to actually make this work, I'm going to undo my comments, and in where it says input, I'm going to type a message for the user to actually see. You put that in quotes like you normally would anything else. And I'm going to say, please enter your name. Put a few dots after it. Let's put 5 dots after it. And that's it. When I run this program now, this message is going to come up and you're going to see the dots and the cursor. Press F5, please enter your name, the dots flashing cursor, King Boss. I press enter. Now nothing happens after I press enter because I haven't done anything with the variable name. I have to tell the variable name to do something. I can print it, I can compare it to something else, I can do whatever I want. But again, in this video, I'm only going to print the values. So what I can do, again, it's good to add comments. So I'm going to put at the very end of it here, press tab a few times and say, ask user for their name, leave it at that. I'm going to say down here, print your name is, put that thing there. After that, we put the comma and I'm going to put name. So nothing else is going to run. Remember, these are comments now. They're not going to run. It's going to run this line. Then it's going to come down here and do this. And I'm going to put comments in here as well. And I'm going to say, print the name the user entered. Let me zoom out just a bit. There we go. When I run this program now, I'm going to say, please enter your name, King Boss, runs Tech Hub, person A, person B, Halo, Mass Effect, Dragon Ball, whatever name I put in here. Remember, imagine this was my name. All of this was my name. The whole point of the variable is to hold that value so that later on, I don't have to remember it. So now when I press enter, what's going to happen? It's going to print your name is King Boss, runs Tech Hub, person A, person B, Halo, Mass Effect, Dragon Ball, right? It does all of this in one massive go. Let's work on the next one now. So let's uncomment age. So I'm going to uncomment this part, uncomment, there we go. Age is going to be the same thing, input. Let's make that proper. Please enter your age. I'm going to put 5 dots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's it. I'm going to add comments again because from now on, for BTech Level 3 Unit 6 microcontrollers, you need to add comments to every single section of your code. For BTech Level 3 IT Unit 4 Programming, you should add comments as well. And for BTech Level 3 Unit 19 Internet of Things, it's just a good idea to add comments to your code overall. So I think moving forward, if it's not too long, I'm going to add comments to my code. So ask user for their age, and I'm going to print the age at the same time. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to maybe copy this one. So copy all of this line here. You can either highlight it like that with your mouse, or I think it's a triple click. So 1, 2, 3 quickly, and it will actually highlight everything. Paste it at the very bottom. And I'm going to change this. Change this to age and put age here. Print the age the user entered, and that should be it. I'm going to do the same thing for height. Actually, let's run that one first. I'm going to comment this part out. I'm going to press F5 on my keyboard. Please enter your name. King Boss, Runs Tech Hub, Ronald, Halo, Goku, Gohan, Frieza, F-R-E-I-Z-A, I believe, Cell, Majin Buu, M-A-J-I-N-B-U-U, whatever my name is. Again, I'm being excessive here just to prove my point of why variables are useful and why we should store things in variables, because I am never going to remember this series again exactly how I did here. Press enter. It doesn't do anything yet because straight away after entering my name, I asked for my age. So I'm going to enter my age as 100. Oh, what did I do there? That was a mistake. Apologies. Let me run that again. I don't know what happened there. So let's run that one more time. Enter your name. Oh, I forgot now. Runs Tech Hub, Halo, blah, blah, blah. Press enter. Age is going to be 100. Press enter. Now, the reason it goes to ask me for my age first before printing name is because this is a sequential program. So that's something that we come across later on as well. This is purely in sequence. Ask for name, ask for age, print name, print age. That's all we're doing here. The best thing to probably do, now let's go ahead and get height. Same process, input. And we want to ask the user for something. We want them to know what is being asked of them. So please enter your height. 5 dots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to put my comment here. So ask user for their THEIR, their height. I'm going to copy this one, triple click to highlight something quickly. 1, 2, 3, copy, go to the very end, paste, and then we change this one to height, change this value to height, and let's bring this back a tiny bit and print the height the user entered, and that should be it. This is how we get user input and print it. Press F5 to run it. My name, let's just be simple this time, Runs Tech Hub. My age, I am 100. Press enter. And my height, I am, I don't know, 2.654789, something like that, right? Press enter. And here are all my values again. But let's go one step further. Let's check what data types these are. So let me put a new line character here just to separate everything. And the next thing I probably want to do is to check what data type things are. So I'm going to say your name is name. And let's print again down here. Let's separate everything. Name is the type, comma, and I'm going to put here, comma again, type, name. And remember what this does. Type, and then you put the variable name is going to tell me the type of data that that variable is holding. So let me copy this a few more times. Copy, paste, paste. I'm going to change this from name to what was the second one was age, and this one was height. I know for a fact that name is going to be string str, age is going to be integer, so int, and height should be float, not double, because that's a very short number, right? It's not a 32-bit value, so that should be float. Let me put a new line character here as well. And now let me run this program. F5, RONSTECHHUB, age, what did I say? 100, height, 2 point, whatever that is. And there we go. We have a string, string, string. However, we know for a fact that 2.65987 is not a string. Even though I said to you earlier, age should be an integer and this should be a float. When we ask for input in this way, We've just said type in the value and Python forces it to be a string because whatever we've typed in is simply taken as a string. If we want to change this, if we want to force this to be a specific data type, what we have to do, we know name is going to be a string, so we don't need to touch that one, right? We know age is supposed to be an integer, an int. So what we can do at the beginning of this question, where it says input, we put int, open bracket, then we put a close bracket here at the end as well. That's going to force whatever the person types in to be an integer. Now there's a good and there's a bad for doing this. The good is it will be the data type that we expect. The bad thing is that if the person types in something that we don't expect, something that we don't want, this is going to throw up an error. I'm going to explain what I mean. So for height, I'm going to do float, I believe. And just like we did before, close bracket here, that's going to force this to be a float data type. So the variable is called height. I'm asking the user to enter a value, but whatever they enter is going to be forced into the type float. Let me push these out a bit more just so it looks a bit neater. Push these out as well. Right, now down here, when I run that same program again, these should now change to the correct types. F5 runs tech hub. I'm 102 point blah blah blah. There we go. We have string, we have int, and we have float. So that's how we get user input. The very first time we did that, we left off the int and the float stuff. And this is now how we force it to be the data type that we want it to be. Because there's no point in someone entering age as a string and we know age should be a number. We can't do anything with a string versus what we can do with a number. So we have to have things in the correct data type to be able to make use of them. And this is known as typecasting. So forcing something to be a different data type. Hopefully that made sense. Hopefully that was useful. I made one mistake, which was I left everything the same when I copied it. So this was supposed to be name. That's perfectly fine. Name is the type. So that's the message that was printed out. Then I need to have age is the type. And for the last one, it was supposed to be height. So this needs to be height, H-E-I-G-H-T. So just a quick recap. That was a mistake on my part. Nothing crazy happened in the program, but it's always good to display the correct message so that other people other than the programmer knows what's going on. Because if I show this to an English teacher, someone who doesn't know programming, for example, doesn't have to be an English teacher, right? Anyone. And they see all of this stuff, print this, height this, they might not know what that is. Whereas this is a much more user-friendly way that the general public will understand. That was my mistake. Fixed it there. And let me press F5 again. Let me enter my details again. Runs tech, let's leave it as that. 100, 1 point, whatever that is. Press enter. And I have the correct things in my print statements. So thanks again.